Hey everybody, it's Mike Sullivan with Born to Shine. Today we have a great guest. His name is William Sprankles. He's over at Butler Tech Schools in Cincinnati, Ohio. And William, thanks for carving out some time with us today.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me to the podcast, and I'm super excited to chop it up with you today, and super excited to contribute to Born to Shine, and also to learn a little bit more about you guys as well, Mike.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Yes, sir. And what was your journey like, William, to become the superintendent? A lot of people looking up to you for your leadership, your guidance, your wisdom. What was your journey like?
Um, so I love to share. I think I've had one of the most dynamic, eclectic journeys possible of any educator, but every educator's journey is dynamic and eclectic. But I'm super appreciative and proud of mine. Started out teaching English in Cincinnati Public Schools at Withrow University High School for 5 years. And while I was teaching English there, I was also the varsity boys soccer coach. And what was unique about that chapter in my journey was for those 5 years that I coached soccer, none of the young men that played on the soccer team were from the United States. They were all from West Africa, all from Central and South America, all from the Middle East. And so early on in my teaching career, I was immersed into what it means to be English as a second language, third world poverty, how to forge a community when you have 25 different religious, ethnic, and racial cultures kind of all in this massive melting pot. It was super unplanned experience, but Withrow University, my first 5 years of teaching and coaching definitely shaped and molded me. From there, one of the most beautiful chapters of my life was I was able to go to Princeton High School and Cincinnati High School. If you're from Cincinnati, everybody knows Princeton High School. And I was able to serve in the leadership capacities of an assistant principal, the head principal of the high school, and then the executive director of secondary education. I was there for a decade. In those 10 years, I'll probably talk more about some of my experiences during those 10 years, but many people regard Princeton High School as one of the most diverse schools in the country based on its socioeconomic background, its racial makeup, and its cultural diversity. It's a beautiful, absolutely amazing community with so many different young people that come into that space, and just some of the best educators you could ever find. From there, I left public education for 2.5 years, and I went to work for a really remarkable company that is called the CT3, stands for the Center for Transformative Teacher Training. It's based out of San Francisco. What's really cool about CT3 when you work there is most times, most of the employees travel around the country. So I was able to go into school districts in New York City, Cleveland, Tulsa, Oklahoma, Memphis, Syracuse, and a variety of other cities around the country. And during that 2.5 years, when you're traveling to all those schools, going in those classrooms, you learn so much and you see so much.
Mm.
So you learn about hundreds of educators, variety of different cultures, how different cities are different, how different school systems operate different. And it's one of the best training grounds to really broaden your horizons as what's possible in education. And then I left CT3 in 2017 to start my career here at Butler Tech Schools. I've been here for 8 years. And for those 8 years, I've served in the capacity as our director of our ITL department, which stands for Innovative Teaching and Learning. And then I became our executive director of secondary schools, followed by the assistant superintendent. And this year, I'm kicking off my first year as the CEO/superintendent. And Butler Tech is just one of the most beautiful, transformative school districts, public spaces you could ever imagine. The things that we have the opportunities to do for 18,000 young people here every single day completely change and impact the trajectory of Southwest Ohio. So super proud of my journey. I've had some beautiful experiences and a ton of amazing people along the way that shaped that path.
That's so cool. And William, when you were at any point in your life, elementary, middle school, high school, college, even after, was there anything that you struggled with internally? A lot of kids are struggling now, have been, and it's just a part of human nature that we go through challenges. Was there something when you were a kiddo, that you struggled with?
Yeah, I was really fortunate growing up to be immersed into a variety of different spaces, some planned and some unplanned, from church youth group to a diverse high school growing up to youth sports teams and a lot of other different outlets. And what it did is it causes you to constantly, what I wrestled with at that time was I was in a space of constantly reflecting on what my identity was.
Mm,
Not necessarily, well, more about who I was as a person, right? Like what did I want my beliefs to be? The things that were values that I needed to embrace growing up. And when you're in a lot of diverse spaces and a lot of different spaces growing up, you're fortunate to be able to see a variety of different values that people embrace. And so you're able to kind of observe and notice and select and pick and choose the values that you think are most important to your life's work and your life's vision and your family's vision, and kind of figure that out along the way. That was important to me because I was able to kind of survey multiple landscapes and learn from a variety of different people and leaders and cultures and spaces. And I was exposed to a ton of different values along the way. Um, it was very diverse versus being homogenous, if you will, right? So I got to see a lot, go a lot of places. And I don't know that I realized at the time that's what I was struggling with, but I constantly remember reflecting on it. And then when I'm older, you're able to look back and see the things that you were faced with as a young person that you're as you got older and you kind of grow and move up that ladder in life, you're trying to evaluate the things that are important to you in life. And from family values to educational values to religious values to political values. And the more exposure you have along the way, the more it causes you to reflect and be critical of the things that you see in front of you. So I just constantly remember thinking about what my identity was going to be as an adult when I was a kid. So I'm sure a lot of young people are faced with that. I'm sure they're wrestling in their skin with who they are and who they want to become in life, and the things that are important to them and the values. Some of those young people inherit a lot of great values from their families, and a lot of young people might be reconsidering a different set of values that they want to take on to reshape their adult life that they might not be experiencing. So I know as a school leader now, young people constantly wrestle with that, reflect on that, and I'm sure I can resonate with a lot of young people that are constantly in search of just what's important to them in life.
yeah, yeah, that's absolutely true. And thank you for sharing that, William. And if you had a magic wand and you could bring in any resource you wanted for your students at Butler, what would that look like?
It's a great question. I'd say probably from a magic wand space, one of the most important things that we could do with our young people is really push the importance of patience, right? It's something that might sound simple on the surface, but I think a lot of young people naturally, as they're developing, um, don't have the patience, and they respond in ways that often create decisions and outcomes that if they had a little bit more patience, they would be able to be more critical. They would be able to have greater and longer range vision into the outcomes of their decisions. And it's probably something that most educators wish our young people had better at or more of, was patience. But it's hard, right? Like young people, they move fast, they talk quick, they think on their toes. And
Right.
oftentimes it's an asset that young people have. And we know as adults, we all look back on our lives and think about, how hindsight is 2020 and there's different decisions. But if there was a magic wand, I think an opportunity for schools is to teach opportunities for young people to practice patience, because when you practice patience, I think we end up all making better decisions. We don't make decisions out of emotion and anger. We don't make decisions that lead to hurt for other people. We don't make decisions that oftentimes yield negative outcomes in our own journey, in our own life. And when you're in charge of 18,000 students, a real opportunity is to practice patience.
Love it. I love it. That's so true. There's a lot of wisdom in that, William, and there's it's actually backed up biblically as well. It's one of the fruits of the spirit, right? Patience, love,
Sure.
joy, peace,
Yeah.
patience. Deferring that gratification. I think well, my generation was the Sesame Street generation, where you just
Yeah.
it's right away, eight
By the way.
seconds. If it's not 8 seconds, it's too long. Where is it? Why is it so? That I think is very true and very wise. So I love that. That's cool. So if you're out there listening and you're a student, or even if you're a parent, or wherever you are in your journey in life, Just like William said, it's hard. It's hard to be patient. I know I struggle with it sometimes, actually, probably quite often, to be honest. And it does help us make more sound decisions, right? Like you said, much wiser decisions instead of making them from emotion, either just elation or just anger.
Mhm.
That usually doesn't end up well, and I can speak of that personally. So thank you for sharing that. And
Yeah.
if there's something that you're thinking, man, why didn't Michael ask me this? I wanted to talk about this. What would that be for you, William? Like if a student's watching this or a parent, and they're just going through whatever it is, finding themselves, who they are, or who they want to be as an adult, what would you say to him or her to encourage them?
Um, from my 10 years at Princeton, as well as my time here at Butler Tech Schools, something that I've seen on more than one occasion, which doesn't happen often, but it's enough that it creates a radical impact in the culture is I know that Born to Shine focuses on mental health supports in this podcast and your body of work. There's been a couple instances where I've seen young people take their own lives.
Mm,
And your question, I think, is anchored in this space of doing all we can as adults to be thoughtful listeners to the kids that we lead and the kids that we love every day, knowing that we might not be able to change the outcomes, but sometimes we can. And sometimes being a great listener goes a long way if people feel heard and people feel valued and our antennas can be up as much as possible. I've seen what happens, firsthand experience inside of a school's culture when a young person takes their life, the ripple effects it has on trauma
mm,
across the student body. And anytime we can prevent or eliminate those opportunities by involving parents, by being thoughtful listeners, by partnering with our community, I think it's important to communicate as it relates to mental health and wellness because that's the radical extreme of mental health. Is any person that feels that taking their own life is a proper decision, and that's something that I would encourage any young person that feels that way to find somebody to talk to right away, find the person that'll listen to you, build a better relationship with them, and for the people on the other side, it's important that we're constantly patient and kind, and we see people for who they are and listen to what their concerns and needs are. And that might be radical to talk about, but I also don't want to miss the opportunity to impact an audience of listeners that might find value in that reflection.
absolutely. William, couldn't agree more. If you're out there and you're feeling great, amazing. If you're out there and you're struggling, first of all, it's okay.
Yeah.
And there are people like William that are here to listen to you because the truth is your life matters and you have value, you're important, and you matter. And the world needs you because you have a unique imprint that no one else can do what you can do. You, the person that's listening. So, William, thank you for that, man. I really appreciate your heart for your students, your inspiring journey, and just thanks for sharing your time with us.
Yeah, thankful for the invitation to contribute and participate. Um, Best of luck to you, Mike, and the Born to Shine podcast, and whoever the listeners are. Super thankful to be. I'm super thankful to be in a space where someone wants to talk about these opportunities. And shout outs to all the great teachers in the country. We got remarkable teachers. Teaching is the hardest job in this country.
Hmm.
It is the single hardest job in this country, and I'm thankful for the teachers that are on the front lines that are juggling, serving, leading, and listening to dozens of kids every day. And teachers got the hardest job out there. And so I'm appreciative and thankful for those teachers that are doing the hard work. So
Amen
appreciate
to that. Amen to that. Thank you, William. And Mom, I love you. Thank you for being a teacher. And thank you, William, for what you just said. That was really cool. And thanks for sharing some time with us.
no doubt.